Welcome to another episode of RELICS Radio. This is a family-friendly show, so the entire family can join us as we talk metal detecting, relic, and treasure hunting. You can also call into the show at 270-495-0315 or join in the chat and post any comments or questions you might have. RELICS Radio is also now syndicated on the Cutting Edge Radio Network and is broadcast around the world. You're listening to RELICS Radio of Southern Kentucky and Middle Tennessee. And you are listening to RELICS Radio. We want to welcome all of our live listeners that are listening to us on Spreaker.com. Also want to welcome all of our syndicated listeners that are picking up the show through the Cutting Edge Radio Network. And we know that not everybody can listen live, so some people will have to be picking up the archive show. And you can do that on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Podbean, Apple Podcast. I tell you what, guys, anywhere that there is a podcast outlet, we are there. And you want to know why? Because we're the world-famous RELICS Radio. And I'm your host, Digging with Seven.
And I'm your co-host, Tennessee Jeff.
What's going on tonight, Jeff? I got
not much, buddy.
I got two Jeffs in the house, so I'll have to say Tennessee Jeff tonight.
We finally got some rain and got the ground in pretty good condition, didn't we?
Oh man, the ground is in perfect condition and the temperature is in perfect condition right now. I mean, you're able to dig to China right now. And it was getting hard. I tell you, it was really getting hard, and the signals were getting hard to find. But I dug a couple of 1.5 feet deep today that were small brass, and or either that or small round ball. And I mean, they sounded good and pretty easy digging. Of course, no matter how cool it is or how wet the ground is, it doesn't help those roots, does it?
It sure doesn't. This past week, I was out there helping Mr. Stone at the bait house, and we were going to plant some peach trees, apple trees, and man, there's no way. And then finally, we got some rain, so we was able to get them planted. But I mean, and of course, we were digging relics as we were planting them trees too, so that was pretty good.
What'd you find planting trees?
A lot of pottery, and then just found some spoon bowls, and think we located hopefully one of the privies. So we moved the tree on over where just in case if that was the location of the privy. So
yeah, and you could tell that by the smell.
Well, I did dig a privy. I had some septic tank. I had to have my septic tank emptied, and man, I'm glad it did rain because I mean 4 foot deep. I never would have got it dug without a track hoe or something.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
And I've seen that you had your little lash digging shovel there, a little hand digger. That took you a while with that, didn't it?
It sure did. It took me a long time. And then finally I had to bring out the big shovels. And then, of course, when the guy come yesterday morning to pump it out, he had a bigger shovel. So that helped out a lot.
Yeah. Well, like I say, it's going to be 47 here tomorrow. 52 this morning. Of course, it's June, and it's the middle of June, so that's not going to last very long. But we are supposed to get some more rain, and so we'll take what we can get. I remember one year, the hottest week that we had was the second week of June, and that surely hadn't panned out this year because, man, we've had absolutely beautiful weather. And following the show tonight, Raina and I are going to run down to the houseboat, and I think we're going to stay down there till Saturday.
Wow, that's a pretty good trip. But with it being 40-something degrees, you picked the wrong time to go to the houseboat, didn't you?
Oh, no, the water's warm.
And less people, I'm sure, with it being cooler.
Yeah. There'll be less people and everything. It don't matter. We got central heat and air in there, so whatever the temperature is outside, we'll be comfortable inside. And we've got a good...
Y'all behave while you're down there.
Yeah, we will. We got a good show lined up tonight, don't we, Jeff? Go ahead and bring our guest in here.
We've got some great relic hunters, father and son team, Jeff and Blake Gibbs. How's it going, Jeff and Blake?
Oh, it's going great. How are y'all doing tonight?
Pretty good. So, have y'all been out hunting this week any?
No, we haven't been this weekend. I traveled north, and Blake's at my mother's house in North Carolina, so we're not hunting this weekend.
Well, that's everybody has to take a break every now and then, get caught up on their chores, and then do what they've got to do. So, but starting out, tell us how you got started relic hunting, Jeff.
Pretty much, it was talk around the lunch table at work, and then we were talking about hunting clubs and old home sites on hunting clubs and wanting to dig up mason jars. So, of course, I did like a lot of people did and bought a bounty hunter just to see if I was going to like it or not, and then upgraded to AT Pro. And that's pretty much how that got started.
What about you, Blake?
I got started when my daddy got started.
Oh, that's pretty good. So, did you y'all find a lot of mason jar lids at first?
Oh yeah. They sound good, so you go dig them things.
They sound just like a plate. I'll tell you. Even though I hadn't found a plate. Well, I found a breastplate, but yeah, I mean they are good sounding. But I tell you what, guys, I hunted an old house site. I guess it's 3 or 4 years ago, and I had a guy from Washington State and a guy from Ohio that came, and I'd been doing a little scouting, and actually it was in 5 Mile Holler, and I had located this old house site. Just from the research and everything, there was no indication that a house had ever been there. But anyway, I went in there just scouting, and the first things that I found about 4 of those old mason jar lids. And so I knew that I was on house site, so I just quit till they came. And they started digging some of those. Now, we did dig some good colonial relics, some flat buttons, and one of them dug a real nice brass shoe buckle. And so we had some real good stuff, but we dug more than our share of the jar lids and everything, and they were complaining about that. And I got a good jar lid sound, and I thought, this is going to be another. And I found my first large scent. It sounded just exactly like a mason jar lid. So you got to dig every one of them, don't you?
You do.
Man, that's the way it is out there at the bait farm. It's one spot. It's got lots of jar lids, and then of course I don't know if they just. I know they reuse the jar lids a lot, but I don't know. Did they reuse them back then too, or they just get done with them, throw them out in a pile?
Oh no! They use those for years and years. It had a rubber seal on it. Now you'd have to replace, and it was a red. Most of them were red. I have seen some black ones back in the day, but most of them were red, and you'd have to replace those. But the lid with that ceramic insert, it'd last forever if you take care of it, you know. And you can tell by digging them up, you know. I mean, some of them right now that you would dig up, you could probably clean up and put a new the rubber washer on there, and it would be fine. You know, I wouldn't recommend it, but it'd be fine. Yeah. Hey, Jeff, what kind of machine are you using now?
We're both using the Equinox 600 right now.
You like that
Great
machine?
machines.
You like them?
Oh yeah, I do. We've been hunting a little Civil War skirmish site at the house, and I mean we've been over it with Deus's, CTX's, AT Pros, and then get the 600s to go back over them, and you still dig stuff that you missed with all those. So really enjoy them.
What do you think? What do you think the strength of that machine is? Why is that such a good machine?
I think it's the multi-frequency is what it is. You know, everything else we've used has just been single frequency. And I think that helps a whole lot. And I mean, it picks up tiny stuff deep. Yeah,
they really like that little stuff. And you said that Blake was using a 600 as well?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Me and Jeff both have Equinoxes, but we've got something that we don't like about them, don't we, Jeff, as compared to an AT Pro?
Yeah, of course, especially when you're hunting for a home site. See, I guess we've got used to finding the debris field with our AT Pros, and it just seems to us it's real hard to find the debris field with the Equinox. And it seems I've been out in the middle of a clean field, and then of course you turn your iron on the Equinox, and it still chatters like there are nails everywhere. Of course, I'm sure with that multi-frequency, it's picking up little hot rocks here and there. But with the AT Pro, I mean, we like it better finding locating old home sites. And Jeff, when you swing your Equinox, how slow do you swing it?
It depends on if I'm hunting real trashy spots or, just open fields looking for Civil War relics. Go ahead. I've
noticed I started swinging mine real slow. It's about like swinging the GPX. I call it stupid slow. I mean, you just barely crawling. And it seems to help out a little bit in these trashy areas. But, I mean, it's a lot of times when you're trying to locate the farmhouse, you're swinging pretty fast, and then to just locate the debris field, and then we've had some trouble out of that. But I mean,
I still like the AT Pro for scouting to find the debris field and everything. And it's like Jeff said, I got an AT Pro when they first come out. Jeff did too, and we've got years and years in on those machines. And I probably know that machine about as well, I guess, as any machine that I've got. Although I'm using my GPX almost exclusively now, but I'm going to do a little bit of shoreline and water hunting at the lake. So I've got an AT Pro down there. That's what I'll use. But I love the way that the nails and the debris field and everything comes up on that machine better than I do the Equinox. But I'll tell you one thing about the Equinox. It will pick out a good target right in a bed of nails, won't it, Jeff Gibbs?
It sure will. Yeah, I've dug a Mercury down. It was pretty much loaded, with nails and stuff, and it picked it right out of it. Now, you could tell what you were digging pretty much then.
You remember, Tennessee, Jeff, you remember that war nickel that I found and what was laying on top of it?
Well, it had a couple of big square nails laying on top of it, didn't it?
It had a square nail almost as big as my little finger laying right on top of it. And good sound. I don't remember now what it was, maybe a 12 or 13, something like that. And I opened up the hole, and there laid that big square nail, and I thought, goodness gracious, was that what I was hearing? And I thought, surely that's not what I was hearing. And I moved the dirt around with my hands, and out popped this war nickel, and it had rust on it where that nail was laying right on top of it. And I thought, now that's separation right there. And I think it is the multi-frequency that helps separate that. Some people say that the 600 doesn't have the frequencies that the 800 does. That's not true. Both of those machines have exactly the same processor. Now, the only difference is that you can isolate more frequencies in the 800 than you can the 600. That's the only difference between them. And you've got the gold mode and everything, which is something I don't think that we would use. Have y'all ever used the beach mode on y'all's?
I tried it the other day when we were creek hunting with Heath and Scott, but I couldn't really tell the difference in it, park or field.
They're getting me on chat here. Woody Jones said Loy knows the AT Pro as well as he knew General Lee. It never stops, guys. It never stops. I tell you what. But I tell you what, before we get into anything else, let's take a commercial break and we'll be right back. T-shirts are a perfect way to get your brand recognized, whether you're talking about a business, a club, a sports team, your YouTube channel, or whatever. But you may have asked, where can I get quality, affordable shirts on demand? Well, I'm glad you asked. Relics Radio uses detectees.com for all of our t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, and hoodies. That's DETECTEES.com. Ken and Mark Guthrie make quality shirts that last, they ship quick, and best of all, they're affordable. So if you need customized apparel, then go to detectees.com and be sure and tell them that Relics Radio sent you. And I don't know if you guys saw the post that I put on Relics Radio, but Detectees sent us a cooling towel, a Relics Radio cooling towel. It's a blue towel that has little perforations all in it and everything. And I tell you what, I used that thing this morning and about froze to death. Of course, it was 50. It was 50 degrees, so I guess that had something to do with it. But I tell you, I know that within time that whenever it warms back up, and it's going to warm back up, I know that that's going to be something that's going to be crucial. Don't you think so, Jeff?
I believe so, because I used mine the other day too, and it helped out a lot. But and of course the humidity was starting to go down a little bit then, but. Probably next week when we get some more humidity, it's really going to be needed. So I'm going to soak mine in the cold water and put it in the freezer and take it with me. So
I don't know if you put it in the freezer, do you? Have you read any?
No, I don't. No, I haven't, but I thought about trying it, just see what it does. Hey, it's got to be colder if you put it in the freezer. So.
You'll wind up with frostbite or something other. But I'll tell you what, courtesy of Detectees, we're going to give Jeff and Blake one of those Relics Radio cooling towels. And, guys, you just have to send me a message on our Relics Radio Facebook group page, or you can send me an email to diggingwith7@gmail.com. And give us your address. And I don't know if they have those yet. It may be a week or so before they get those out to the general public. But as soon as they are, we're going to give you one. What was you going to say, Jeff?
I just said, all right, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good old Alabama heat.
Yeah, it does get hot. And there's always humidity down there, ain't there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, Blake, what kind of hunting do you prefer? What kind of relics do you prefer to find out of everything that you find?
Civil War.
Civil War. That's the way that I am.
Yeah.
What is your best Civil War find that you found?
A bed boss.
A U.S. bed boss?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good find.
Yeah. And if you don't know, the bed boss was a U.S. insignia that went on each side of the Union cavalry bit that went in the horse's mouth. Now, I've been told, I don't know if it's true or not, and Tennessee Jeff, you can back me up on this or correct me, either one, but I've been told that if the Confederates stole a Union horse with the bridle and everything on it, that they would knock those U.S. off of that bit. Have you heard that?
I think I have, maybe through you, but it makes sense. I'm sure they did. I'm sure it's like a lot of the U.S. plates, they would make them put an X through them or cut them in half or something like that. So I'm sure they would knock the bosses off the bit. So.
Yeah. Well, I only know of one that, or I've only seen one found that was still on the bit, and it was only half of the bit, and it had it on the side of it, but it was found on a Union camp, and so that makes sense. But I have heard that that it. And Blake, where did you find that? Woody Jones is asking, where did you find that bit boss at? Just give me a state. Go ahead.
In Alabama.
In Alabama, yeah. At one of y'all Civil War sites down there that y'all work?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Northeast Alabama.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think, found one but me there.
Man, that's my luck, Jeff.
Have you not found one, Jeff?
I haven't. There's been 3 found there. And, of course, I hadn't found one yet there.
Yeah. You know, there's always that one thing that you should have found that you just haven't found. And I know that Kurt Franz with Hoover Boys, he calls it his white whale. You know, there was a long time there that he'd never found a barber quarter. And then, Scott Duncan, forever and ever and ever and ever hadn't found any kind of barber. And, he should have found one. So I think that that's the way it is, and I've never found a box plate or a belt plate, US, CSA, or anything, And I think that I should have found one of those, but haven't.
Now, I would think I should have found a walking Liberty or standing Liberty by now. But, I haven't found one, so I'm still waiting on just a plain old quarter.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff Gibbs, how do you guys go about your research, finding the sites that you find? If you don't mind, I don't want you to give too awful much information, but just how you guys go about finding places to hunt like that.
Pretty much the World Atlas book, Civil War Atlas, that, and just looking at old aerial maps and talking to landowners. And the spot we found at the house, pretty much we were just hunting an old home site, and Civil War stuff started popping up. And then, kind of like bird dogging, you just got to strike out looking for new land. And you'd find a picket line somewhere, and, you just find different spots that had bullets and buttons.
Yeah, I hunt along me and Jeff both do. The Cumberland River runs through southern Kentucky here, and it runs through Middle Tennessee where he lives. We both live probably about the same distance from the Cumberland River, only we live an hour and a half apart. But there was a Confederate camp somewhere in my area there along the Cumberland River, and I've been about 6 years looking for that. Can't find any information about it. You just hear a reference every now and then. I know some of the people that had, that recruited the people for that camp, but I can't find any information on exactly where it would be or even a general area where it would be. But I've been looking for it and just get in the pasture fields and things and walk and swing. And I found 5 colonial houses doing that. So it does pay off to just get out there and put boots on the ground, doesn't it?
It does. These the little skirmish sites we found at the house or camps, whatever they are actually probably, I don't know, maybe a quarter of a mile away a crow flies from the actual, known skirmish. So, I'm sure there's still unfound places like that around, that nobody's found.
Yeah. I'm working what would you say it's a cavalry site, Jeff, with the bullets and things that we found there?
Oh, I'm most definitely sure it's a cavalry camp, and of course the bullets are scattered out, and there's so many different types of bullets. So, I'm sure there was several different troops stayed in that area at one time. So, but yeah, they're all been cavalry bullets. You've only found one mini ball, hadn't you?
No, I've found probably 5 mini balls there, but I found Cosmopolitans, which is a carbine bullet. I found Gallagher's, which is a carbine bullet, and both of those bullets would suggest, cavalry. I found Henry 44s. I found a bunch of Colt 36s, which are rare in my area. Most of the time we're finding Colt 44s. But Tim Henderson did find a Colt 44, and then I found one. And then I've got on the edge of a spot there that I haven't mowed yet, and I found an infield. So hopefully there may be a little bit of Confederate stuff. But what you're thinking, Jeff Gibbs, on a site that just has a lot of scattered bullets like that, but you're not finding the iron and stuff that you would normally think that you would find in what would be a regular camp. What were those soldiers doing in spots like that?
I don't know, because one of the fields we hunt, we probably found, 15 or 20 carb bullets, and I don't know if they were used for chess or checkers. But everywhere that we find bullets, it's always, Confederate and Union all together. They're just all mixed in together. So I don't know what if they, camped there and then moved on and then vice versa, Confederate Union camped in the same place. But everywhere we've hunted around the house, everything is just mixed together.
Yeah, we have that a lot at my house, and especially the railroad running through my area, and you'll have the Confederates camp there first, and then when the Union moved in 1862, they run the Confederates out and then took over their camps, and of course that was where your best water sources were, and just a best outlook over the railroad. So 90% of the time, that's what had happened in that situation. They just the Union run the Confederates out and took their camp over.
Yeah, it's a puzzle to me, but I think that my thinking on this is that there was an old road that came through there. In fact, one of the oldest roads in our county came right beside this camp. And I know that there was a lot of marching that went through because I've read one diary of a lady that lived just a little bit more than a stone's throw, maybe a quarter of a mile from this site. And she said when Bragg brought his soldiers through that she could feel her house shake and rumble for like about an hour. I don't know how many men he brought through, but it's something like 25,000 that came through. But I know that the 9th Pennsylvania Cavalry was here, and I know that they marched back and forth, and I know John Hunt Morgan was here, came through here quite a bit. And I think it's just a spot that they just, they'd be marching and they'd just stop overnight. And what is your idea on dropped bullets? Why they dropped so many bullets?
I don't know if they were camped there and then maybe got overrun, because all the card bullets we found were probably in maybe a 50-foot diameter circle, and I'm sure there's still some there, but I don't know. We hadn't found many fired bullets. Most of them are dropped. But like I said, there's been tons of different varieties of what we found. Both Union and Confederate. So I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like Jeff said, a good place to camp and a good water spot is good for Confederate or Union, either one. So either way that you go at it will work. Well, what you're thinking, Tennessee Jeff, on drop bullets? Why are there so many?
Well, a lot of them is just where they made their fires and stuff in a regular camp. But if you get outside just a regular camp, like a picket post or something, you'll find just a lot of fired bullets. The Union had tons of bullets, and they didn't really care about them as much as the Confederates did, because the Confederates didn't have that much stuff. And then, they might have just took a bullet apart and threw it off in the water to see how deep it was. And, it's a lot like Jeff was talking about the game pieces. In a 50-foot area, okay, that the soldier could have had his chest game out and all of a sudden had to pack up and leave real quick, and it didn't have time to get his chest game before he had to leave. So, you'll find a lot of stuff like that.
Hey, Jeff, on that spot that you're finding those carved bullets, have y'all found any coins that would have been in that period of time during the Civil War?
No, sir, not yet. Not in that particular spot.
The reason that I asked is because I got on a little spot about 5 years ago that had it had carved infills. Well, I say carved; they were cut in half. You had some of the bases, and then you had the tops. And I'm sure that they were using those for game pieces, because there were probably 7, 8, 10 of those at the most. And they were in an area that was probably 10 or 15 foot square, and all in the same area. But right there in that same area, I found a flying eagle and a tram, both that would, one of them was 1853 and one of them was 1858. So I figure that they were gambling there, and that's the reason that I asked. Anytime I think you find a concentration of game pieces, you really need to slow down, because soldiers were notorious for gambling, weren't they?
You're right. Right, I take that back. Kevin Gabrus, he found the flying eagle, not where the game pieces are, but where another, little camp was that we hunt.
Yeah,
that's the oldest coin we found there.
Yeah. What about you? What is your favorite find or the best find that you've pulled out?
Probably the War 1812 plate is probably my favorite.
Tell everybody about that and what it looks like and size of it and all that.
It's real small. I mean, I didn't know what it was at first, so it sat in my junk pile in the back of my truck for about 3 or 4 weeks before I went to toss it. And then I said, I might need to post that on American Digger Can You ID, but it was pretty much, I guess, a breastplate is what it was back then, but it's real small. I mean, it looks like if it was a belt buckle, it would look like it'd be a 8-year-old kid's buckle. That's how small it is. I guess like a regular, Civil War breastplate are pretty small.
Yeah, I'd love to find one of them, wouldn't you, Tennessee Jeff?
I sure would. Anything to do with 1812. I mean, I've only got a few buttons from the War of 1812. I'm sure that's where the soldiers brought them home too. But I mean, I would love to get on a Revolutionary War or War of 1812 campsite, and that would be pretty awesome.
It would, I tell you what. Hey, guys, we need to take another break, and we'll be right back. If your passion is metal detecting, then you know how much your success is based on the equipment you use. Let my buddy Tim Henderson of Murray Branch Outdoors in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, help you with that. Tim is an authorized dealer of Mine Lab, Garrett, XP-DES, and macro detectors and supplies, and also carries many aftermarket items. Murray Branch Outdoors is not only competitive in their prices, but the service after the sale is second to none. Tim not only sells detectors, he uses them, and so he can answer any question that you might have. Murray Branch Outdoors also deals in used detectors, and he'll take your old detector in on trade when you decide to upgrade. So give Tim Henderson of Murray Branch Outdoors a call at 615-948-4611 or visit his website at www.murraybranchoutdoors.com and be sure and tell him Relics Radio sent you. And by the way, guys, either tonight, next Thursday night, or the next Thursday night, we're going to give away an Amphibio detector. Note to Micro was good enough to donate that in conjunction with Murray Branch Outdoors. You're going to have to be live on the show. You're going to have to go to the Relics Radio Facebook group page and just put in the comments there what you like about an Amphibio. If you don't know anything about it, just be honest about it. I don't know anything about it, but I'd love to have one. Some people have done that. We've got 121 entries, and if we give this thing away tonight, Rick Ward, you just got in under the wire because Rick Ward was the last one to get in, Jeff, and he got in. He got in pretty late. Sure did. But anyway, go over there and make a comment. I will give you a number, and then we will announce it live here, and you've got to be live on the show. You're going to have 3 minutes to either call in or put something in the chat. Now then, some people have said, I've got to work and I can't be there. That's okay. You can have your wife listen to the show. You can have one of your children. You can have any family member that you want to listening to the show and vouch for you and say, yeah, we're here. And we will honor that. But just stay tuned. I don't know when we're going to do it. Jeff don't know when we're going to do it. That's all up to Mark Hoover. He's the boss of this whole thing right here. So we'll blame it on him. So don't get mad at us. But hey, Blake, what's it like hunting with your dad?
It's doing good.
Does do you find more treasure than he does?
Oh yes, I find a lot.
I bet you do. Tell us a little bit about the stuff that you found. Say your coin wise. What's your best coin?
Well, my best coin, I got to say, standing liberty quarter.
Well, there you go. I've been looking for one of them for 12 years now and still hadn't found one. So, but
he's found the 1876 seated Liberty quarters.
Wow. So,
yeah, I heard about that for a while.
So you heard about it? Are y'all competitive?
Yeah.
Are y'all competitive in the field?
We are. Usually when we're finding, pretty much we're on Indian head pennies or bullets or buttons, and that's pretty much about the only three things we're competitive at.
But it's a friendly competition. That's kind of the way that me and Jeff are, or anybody that we hunt with. You know, we're kind of that way, and you know, we'll kid one another. Dadgum, you stepped in my line. I was walking right toward that. You know, and you know, you're just saying it all in jest. It never did matter to me who found what, as long as we got to document it and find it and save it and film it and what have you. You know, it's the quest, isn't it?
It is. I could care if I find another relic as long as he does. You know, that's all that matters to me. Is I'm out there for him and my other buddies. You know.
Yeah.
I'm just there for a good time.
What is it? Yeah. What is it like though, seeing your son along beside you with the same detector that you've got hunting?
Oh, it's amazing. You know, he's come a long way, and he's picked up on the hobby real quick. He does real good. So it's amazing to watch him.
You know, I never was able to hunt. Of course, my dad, I mean, he's still living, but he's not able to get out and hunt or do anything. And I didn't get into this hobby until after he'd got hurt. And, of course, I always think about how I would have loved to hunt with my father. And, of course, I mean, it's great that you guys get to hunt together. And, of course, I'm bringing up my young son now. And, I mean, one day he'll be hunting with me. But, I mean, I guess right now, I mean, 7, I started hunting with him. And I guess he's been like hunting with my father because he's taught me a lot that I didn't know when I started hunting. So, I mean, it's been great. But, I mean, Blake, how often do y'all get to go hunting?
About every weekend.
About every weekend? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Close to that anyways.
Yeah. And y'all got a lot of spots down there. Y'all got a lot of history in Alabama. Of course, we've got a lot of history here too. But you've got a lot of different places and everything there to hunt. And Jeff was talking about hunting with his dad that he never got to. My dad died when he was 49. I was a young man at the time. But we fished together and we did everything together. And I know that if he had been alive whenever I first started in 1976 metal detecting and treasure hunting, I know that he would have fell right in there. And I can just see me and him being really competitive against one another. And I can see you and your boy Jeff. I can see you guys being competitive too.
Yeah. Man, it's going to be totally different. We're going to be throwing rocks at each other, I'm sure.
I can see it now. 10 years from now, y'all tune into YouTube. It won't be Tennessee Jeff no more. It'll be the Bait House Boys.
Yep.
Oh, mate. What kind of strange experiences or different experiences, Jeff, have y'all had in going out to a spot and hunting? Something that just really surprised you?
I mean, we've had the cops call to us a couple times, and you know, you get permission to hunt somewhere, and it'll be about a 200 or 300 acre, you know, field, and you hunt it for about 2 hours and they come run you off. So that's about it. We hadn't had really any bad experiences, I guess. But that's about it. You know, we've come up on a few graveyards in the woods, but that's about the only thing I've come up on.
Me and my daddy-in-law, he was a big coon hunter, and he raised coon dogs and everything, and in fact, he used to sell coon dogs to a guy in Alabama. Flanagan Lumber Company was the guy's name was Mr. All I ever knew was Mr. Flanagan, but he'd come up and he'd buy a dog every now and then. But anyway, we were out hunting, and we turned the dogs loose, and it was pretty cold that night. And we were right in the middle of two big cornfields, and the dogs, they got on the track and they took off, and we couldn't hear them, whether they were treed or whether they were coming back or whether they were still running. And he said, I know a place, a high spot that I can go and drive, and if they're treed, I can hear them. And he said, you just stay here in case they come back. So he'd built a little fire, and it was about to die out. So I'd been thinking, why would a man have two great big cornfields and have a little growed up spot right in the middle of it? And I'm kicking around trying to find some sticks, and I kick a tombstone, and I said, that man has left me in the graveyard all by myself, and he took the gun. Oh, me. Yeah. What other things do you and Blake do together?
Before we started metal detecting, I was raised up hunting and fishing. So, he's been into that. Of course, he beats me in that too, but that's about it. We, pretty much that's it. We hunt and fish, and then started metal detecting about 7 years ago. So pretty much anything to do with us staying outside, we try to do it.
Yeah. What kind of fishing do y'all like to do?
Fishing, whatever we can catch. Now Blake likes crappie fishing and catfishing.
Then he's a patient fisherman, isn't he?
Not really. Not really. He's not fond of getting bread balls and catching carp, so
Yeah.
he's not too patient.
Our grandson, Austin, that he's always lived with us, and it's been just like my son, but he's 21 years old. And I took him fishing with me all of his life and everything, and that's one thing we had in common. And baseball was the main thing we had in common, but fishing too. And he is a fishing fool. I kind of related there a while ago whenever you said that to get out in a field and you're so happy whenever Blake can find the things that he finds. And, you're not jealous at all. You're proud that he can do that. And that's the same way that I feel whenever Austin catching all these fish and everything, because, I think I had a hand in teaching him and training him how to do that. Isn't that the way you feel?
It is. It is. It makes you proud that he's finding all the stuff he's finding.
Yeah. And Jeff, Tennessee Jeff, you're a big hunter. Talk to him about hunting just a little bit.
Oh yeah, well, my dad. I was growing up, of course, juvenile season and everything. Of course, this would be my first time deer hunting, and we shot the 30-30 rifle, lining the scope up and everything. And that next morning, he said, "Well, wake me up early in the morning. We'll go hunting." And so I woke him up that morning. He said, "I think you can handle it." He said, "Just go on to the house, go on in the woods and shoot you a deer." So sure enough, I went and killed a doe that day, and then come back, and after that, I pretty much hunted by myself until then. We never hunted together, but we fished together. And then he taught me a lot about fishing. And of course, he was just a bank fisherman, and we'd catch catfish and a few bass here and there. But I mean, as hunting wise, we never did hunt that much together. And then I'm hoping to get Avery into pretty much all of it. So I'm hoping to be able to teach him what I've learned over the years. I mean, it's still a fun time, and my dad, with me getting into relic hunting, of course, he sees these relics that I find, and he thinks they're worth $1 million. Say, if I find a belt buckle, he's like, "Man, that's $1 million, ain't it?" And I was like, "Yeah, Daddy, that's $1 million." And then, of course, I'll find a Civil War book. "Oh, that's got to be $80 or $90. "Yeah, Daddy, that's $80 or $90. So he thinks I'm richer than Donald Trump. So by the time if I sell all my relics, get probably $500 out of them, then I said, "Daddy, I wasn't as rich as you think I was." So, but yeah, I'm just hoping to raise Avery up and then get him into all of it. So, have you and Blake, y'all deer hunted together, and how many deer have y'all killed?
I really don't know how many I've killed. I've been doing it for a while. Everybody says I need to play the lottery because I get real lucky and draw tags. In 2002, I drew a moose tag in Maine and got to go moose hunting. And then it's like 2012 or 13, I drew an elk tag in Kentucky. So I've been real fortunate I've been Lewis and Clark in it. I've been a lot of places, been to Wyoming, antelope hunting. So pretty much hunting was my passion until metal detecting.
Well, that's the way I was. I mean, I hunted pretty much every day the season was open, and then as soon as I got into metal detecting, I had to put a stop to it. But I mean, with you drawing a tag for an elk in Kentucky, man, that was you need to buy a lottery ticket. That was a great tag right there to have. And did Blake go with you on that hunt?
No, he was too young then. We hunted, public property, so we had to walk a long way. So he was too young to go then, pretty much.
Yeah. Blake, do you like deer hunting and fishing?
Yes, sir.
What's the biggest fish you ever caught?
About probably, maybe a bass.
Man, that's pretty
what? He's caught some pretty big carp. I'd probably say his biggest fish, catfish.
Yeah.
You guys don't noodle, do you?
We have, yeah. We not with our fingers, but with a PVC pipe and a treble hook and a cotton rope.
Yeah,
I've done that. There's a fine line between brave and stupid when you do that with your fingers, and I don't want to cross that line.
They sure is. I've got our niece, her husband, he's a great big old boy, and he's noodled quite a bit here lately. He does that every year. And he'll come in, he'll have his hand and up his arm tore all to pieces where a big old cat, he pulled him out. And I told him, I said, man, you're stupid. Hey, guys, we're going to take a commercial break. And after we come back, we're going to open up the phone lines, 270-495-0315. Call in and talk to Jeff and Blake Gibbs. If you want to keep up with what's going on in the metal detecting world, then you need to be a subscriber to American Digger magazine. Butch and Anita Holcomb are the publishers of the magazine and have won awards for 3 straight years for being the best digger magazine on the market. American Digger magazine is available in both print and digital formats, so no matter where you live in the world, you can enjoy the latest happenings in the hobby. You can get in touch with American Digger magazine by going to americandigger.com or give them a call at 770-362-8671. And be sure and tell them that you heard it on RELICS Radio. And for those of you that don't know, I am part of the American Digger Relic Roundup crew, along with the legend Butch Holcomb and Jeff Lupert, and we're on every Monday night at 9 o'clock. And want to remind everybody that the Chattanooga Relic Show is coming up on July the 27th and 28th. And that is posted on almost every Facebook channel that has anything to do with metal detecting here in the South. You can't miss it. We've got it on our RELICS Radio page, and we've got it on Adventures in History. And I know they've got it on the North Alabama site, and Heath Jones has shared it everywhere. So come to that, because we're going to do live podcast again this year at the Chattanooga Show. Make sure you come by the broadcast table over there. Let us get a chance to meet you and to shake your hand. And also want to let everybody know that the reason we're having fathers and sons or fathers and daughters in June is because this Sunday is Father's Day, and we're doing that in honor of fathers. And Jeff, you know, we got people all over the world that are listening to this show, and they're right now scratching their head and they're saying, "What in the world is noodling?" Tell them what noodling is.
Well, you go along the river banks, and then you'll see a little crevice in the river bank right below the water surface, and then, of course, that's where the big catfish, that's where they nest at, and that's pretty much where they live all the time. So you run your hands up in there, and then you feel around, and then if you feel a catfish, you try to get your hand in its mouth, and then it'll bite your hand, it'll attack it, and then you just try to get a hold of it through the gills or something. and then you pull that catfish out. Now, I mean, you have 50-50 chance if it's going to be a big snapping turtle or a big snake or something like that. Now, I know guys, they've done it for years, and they'll put out, when the river's down, they'll put out a big rock outcroppings, and then they'll actually build something that where the catfish can go in, and they'll mark them, and even when the water's up, a lot of them will dive down to these holes and pull these huge catfish out. And I remember as a kid, we would run down the creeks, and then, of course, if you run down the creeks, you'll see the fish swimming away from you, and they'll go up in these roots and stuff. And as a kid, I can remember just running and throwing my hands up under them roots and rocks and all that. But, man, I wouldn't do it for every CS plate in the world right now.
And Jeff Gibbs, tell us your version of noodling.
Pretty much we just find boat ramps, and a lot of times they're hollowed out up under it, and you just get a PVC pipe and run up in there, and you'll feel it when they hit it. And then you just, put pressure on with a rope and pull them out. But it's enough for me to feel around with my foot to find a hollow spot to stick the pole in. I sure don't want to stick my arm up in there.
But I like your noodling a lot better. I'd rather do yours now than I would running my hand up in there.
I do my noodling with a line and a hook and a little bit of bait on the hook. And if they come, they come. I don't push them. And they very seldom bite me. Though one time I got a couple of quick stories real quick to tell you about fishing. One of them is we always go to Gulf Shores. Well, we're not going this year, but me and Austin, we've learned how to fish off the pier. And I caught a catfish down there when we first started going, and I thought, man, this is great. We'll take this catfish home and eat it. And there was this lady that was there, and a couple of gentlemen, and they all said, no, you don't want to eat them. Them things are poison, and if they fin you, that poison will set up, and you may have to have your arm or hand or something, or finger amputated. Sure enough, there's one of them fin me, and this lady, she said, I know because I'm a nurse. And I said, one of them dead-gum catfish has finned me. And I said, what do I need to watch for? And she said, if that goes to puffing up and turning red, then you better watch out. Well, the lights on the pier are not regular lights. And I spent the rest of the night trying to see if that was red, and there was no way that you could tell. Hey, guys, we got a caller on. Heath Jones, what's going on?
Not much, guys. What's up with y'all?
Oh,
my buddy Jeff's on there tonight.
Do what?
I said, I heard my buddy Jeff's going to be on there tonight.
He's on here. Him and Blake both are on here.
That's good. That's good guys, man. I'm glad y'all had them on.
Well, yeah, they seem like real good guys. So.
Oh, yeah. We're going through a little dead area. I know Jeff's on walkabout right now, and can't wait till they get back down here detecting again. Have they told, I got to tune in late, did they tell the story about how when Blake always finds silver, you can tell all the way across the field when he's coming to you?
No.
No, we hadn't heard that one. Go ahead, Heath.
I'm going to let Jeff tells it better than I do about what he does.
Blake will strike out. It don't matter if it's 100 yards or half a mile. He's coming with a thumbs up and a big old grin on his face. So, I mean, you know what it is when he's coming.
Proud of that
means
silver.
He beat us all.
And you know something, guys? Relic hunters don't find a lot of silver, do we?
No,
not really.
We don't.
So it's kind of a treat when we find it. Hey, you two guys both are on this keto diet, ain't you? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Jeff lost more weight than I have, so I'm going to let him talk about it.
I started January 14th, and I weighed about, I think, 278. And then I weighed again in mid-March, and I weighed 209, and I hadn't weighed since then. So it's definitely a life-changing deal for me. I'm really glad I done it.
So the keto diet, how does that work?
It's pretty much
you gotta,
your body.
All the bread.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying you can't eat all the good stuff you normally like.
Uh-oh.
Right. You're pretty much cutting out carbs. Your body's burning carbs now. So whenever you cut carbs out, it's pretty much burning fat. So that's how you lose so much weight. But it works.
Yeah, I'm down about 65 pounds now, and I've been real happy with the results. I mean, I say you cut out all the stuff you like, you really don't. I mean, I hadn't had the cravings like a lot of stuff, and a bunch of us relic hunters are all kind of portly individuals, so it's a good diet to be on, especially if you like ribeye steaks and stuff like that.
Well, hey, I could do with that. I mean, but see, I'd have to have my loaded baked potato and my Texas toast with it. So, but see, you can't eat potatoes or toast, can you?
No, you can't have that.
No, it's kind of cutting out all of the breads, and then you cut out all the potatoes, all the potato chips, and things like that, which we all do. I mean, we go to McDonald's and we get French fries, and I mean, we are consumed with potatoes, and then you cut out sugar drinks and stuff too, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and if you guys are interested, I know it's going to sound cheesy, but, we got History Seekers, which Jeff's on, but Jeff and I are starting a new channel, and it's going to be called Keto Seekers, and so we're having a lot of fun. We've already got the channel up, but we hadn't got any videos on it, and we're going to be talking all about that on there, too. If any of the relic hunters want to switch over, talk about that some with us, be glad to help them out if we can.
Well, my son-in-law got on that about probably a little over a month ago. He's lost 50 pounds. And
wow.
He said that, to me, he looks sick. I told him, I said, son, you're going to have to start eating you something other because you look bad. He said, I feel great. But actually what it does, to my understanding, it kind of puts your body in shock. Your body doesn't have the carbs to feed off of, so it goes to converting fat into those carbohydrates to pull that out. Am I correct in that?
Right. That's what the ketones are, basically. From my understanding, of course, neither one of us are doctors. We're rednecks, metal detecting, but what little we know about the science of it. But
you did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
That's exactly right. And I'm about to get out at Longhorn and eat a steak with Kelly. So we're going to keep with the keto.
Okay. Hey, Heath, we've got another call that has come in, and so if I can get them loaded in here. 4510, who do we have on the line?
Dawn.
Hey, Dawn.
Hello, Dawn.
Good to have you on tonight. Have you got a question for Jeff or Blake Gibbs?
Actually, I don't. I was just calling in about the keto.
Okay.
Well,
talk about
Dawn's my keto buddy there on Facebook.
Okay. Well, fill us in on all of the intricate details of the keto diet then.
The big thing is to make sure to cut out the sugar, and you got to give up that bread and the rice and the potatoes. And you think it's the good stuff that you're missing out on, but you're actually not. Because once you start keto, your body adjusts, and you don't miss it.
Now, how long did it take either one of y'all to get over the craving of that? Because I know at night, whenever I sit down, my wife and I, we've got some television series that we watch on Fire Stick. At night, we'll watch 1 or 2 episodes. First thing I do is I go get me a soft drink and a bag of potato chips. And I just can't.
Oh, that's terrible.
I know it. I can't imagine not doing that. So how long did it take you to get over the withdrawals of that?
Well, the way the keto diet is, if you're eating, fatty foods, it's pretty much craving your hunger. So, I mean, you're not really you're not really craving anything.
Yeah,
So, I
but
mean, maybe
that first 2 weeks, it's vicious. I mean, you're wanting all that, but you just have to tell yourself it's going to be okay. I'm going to get over this.
Now, what kind of things then would you snack on to? You know, a lot of it, I think, is just it's just a habit of putting something in your mouth. So what are you going to substitute instead of a bag of potato chips and a RC Cola?
Oh, my Lord. That's just it. It's like, if it's late in the night, I'm not going to eat anything, and I'm going to go drink me some water, because water is a big part of keto.
Yeah.
Well, I drink a lot of water. I really do. And see, my problem is I'll wake up, especially going relic hunting. I'll wake up, I'll go to the little country store down here, get me 2 little sausage and biscuits, and I'll eat that. And I'll go all day, maybe just 1 pack of peanuts, then I'll go home and eat dinner. And then I'll go lay down and go to bed. I know that's the worst thing you can do, but 90% of the time, that's my diet. And, I mean, I need to change my diet all the way around.
And Robert McConnell is in the chat, and he reminded me of something that my son-in-law said. My son-in-law said, I eat pork rinds, and he said they're okay, and that's what Robert McConnell said.
Huh.
Pork rinds are pretty versatile. We use them a lot for, battering chicken and stuff like that to bake. I mean, you could use them for a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And
yeah, for sure. I mean, any substitute for chips, breadcrumbs, you can crush them up and use them as just your coating for frying fish, chicken, anything.
What about the cheese? It's little cheese crackers? Is that still bread?
Actually, it is. Actually, what you do is you go buy like the cheese slices, like cheddar cheese, and you cut them into pieces and put them in the oven on 300 for about 15 minutes, and then they taste just like Cheez-Its. And I mean, you can have all that you want because it's cheese.
See, I love cheese and I love steak. So,
well, the way I understand it, you can eat all of that you want to, can't you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Now, is Blake? Did Blake go on this diet, or did he need to go on this diet?
He's a type 1 diabetic, so I mean, him still being in high school at the time, he still had to eat lunch there, but his A1C went from, I don't know, it's always been in the 10s. He's been diabetic since he was 5 to, it went from 10s to 6s in about a month and a half.
Wow.
So it's really been real good.
Yeah. My wife is diabetic, and I don't know what it is about diabetics. I don't have this problem. I don't have a craving for sweets. But when we go to the grocery store, she'll load the cart up with sweets and then come home and take medicine, for diabetes.
Right.
And I tell her, I say, you need to get off of those sweets because, they're not good for you. But I guess it's just willpower, and it's kind of like I tell her, she tells me about things, that I do. She got on to me the other night and said, we come here and said, you sit over there in that chair and you eat a big bait and then go to sleep. I said, hey, I'm 150-year-old. What's it going to hurt me,
Right. Yeah, people think you do without sweets on keto, but I mean, I make, Reese fat bombs, which tastes just like a Reese Pieces cup, and you don't do that. You just use, different sugar substitutes. And I mean, you don't crave sweets.
Definitely. No, I mean, I make brownies. I make fudge. It's just figuring out how to substitute to get the sugar out of there.
Yeah. Now, is there a site that you guys went to that told you about these recipes and everything, or is there a book you bought, or what?
I've got a bunch of recipes on my Facebook group. If you want me to give that out, and people can go on there. We share a bunch of recipes on there.
Oh, definitely.
It's called No Excuses Low Carb Keto Healthy Living is the name of it.
Okay.
And
no,
pretty much to share.
What was that again?
Yeah, go.
No excuses. No excuses. Low carb keto healthy living.
I'm going to check that out. You done flung a craving on me. Yeah, I'm going to check it out.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we post recipes. We're a good support group. anyone has questions, we're there to answer. It's like a little family.
And
it is.
Nelson Sauter asked in the chat, is it okay to have honey instead of sugar? Or is that a no?
No.
Can't do it.
No.
And then
and that was tough.
Ohio Relic Hunter said no beer.
You can get a.
Okay, wait a minute. Yeah. I mean, hold up. I mean, we can do like a Michelob, or not a Michelob. Just a Miller Lite, or just you can do the Ultra. It's just, it's not recommended.
Yeah, Miller Lite. Yeah, I wouldn't drink that stuff either. That's pretty nasty.
Yeah,
Michelob might be okay.
So it's just a matter then of, and what Jeff Gibbs said there a while ago about taking squares of cheese and putting them in the oven and then baking them, and then they're like a Cheez-It. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, you can use cheese for a lot of stuff. You could bake it in the oven and set it on a wooden spoon and make a taco shell out of it, or you could bake it in the oven and make roll-ups out of it. Fill it with chicken or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a Mexican dish. Go ahead, Dawn.
Right, and we substitute rice and potatoes with cauliflower. I mean, we have tons of recipes that we post, and people ask questions, and it's easy for us to answer them quickly.
Yeah, I mean, there's even a recipe for 90-second bread, that's keto. So, I mean, tastes just like sourdough bread to me. So, I mean, I don't crave any, regular bread anymore.
And Mark Hoover said, go on the keto diet and buy my new book, Exercising While Vacuuming. He's a nut, I tell you. And we've got everybody in the chat here. They're saying, what about vodka? What about bourbon?
Yeah. That's okay, you tell them, go to the Facebook page and ask questions, and we'll answer them quickly.
How many people are on that page? Do you know right offhand?
It just started just a couple hundred, but I mean, it hadn't started maybe, 2 weeks, Dawn? I hadn't had it up and running too long.
We haven't been doing it long.
How many relic hunters in the South down there around you guys are on this?
Heath and Scott and Anthony Pugh. There's several in there.
Now my stepson's on something, and I can't remember if that's what it is or not. But I mean, I'm like you, Lloyd. When I seen him, he looked kind of sick, but he said he feels good. And then I'll check and see if that's what he's on. And he's lost a lot of weight. Of course, he didn't need to lose any anyway. He was just trying to be a bodybuilder. But
yeah.
Well,
J.J. Holt.
J.J. Holt's
on it. No, J.J. Holt weighs about 100 pounds wet. But I was going to say, J.J. Holt said that, he said, I'm the only guy that he knows that needs overalls to wear overalls. All my stuff done fell off.
But it sounds to me like that there's just a lot of, not only just the weight loss, but there's a lot of health benefits with that, especially maybe if you're diabetic. If you're an old man like me, if I could lose a little bit of weight, I'm having a little bit of knee problems now, and I know it's just my knees carrying so much weight. I have a little bit of trouble with my hip, although Tennessee Jeff said one day, well, I said, my hip's hurting. He said, it ought to be. It's 150-year-old.
They say every pound you lose is 5 pounds of pressure off your joints. So.
Really? See, I have rare type arthritis. It's called ankylosing spondylitis, and my joints are fusing together, and most of them already have fused. But that I need to lose some of the weight off that my joints were. Of course, it's getting where I can't get up and down digging. And me and Mark Hoover talked about this earlier about the keto diet, and then I just asked my wife, and that's what my stepson is on, keto diet.
Hey, that's the reason why I started keto is digging. You get up and down, and 278 pounds at 6'2". That's a lot of weight to be getting up and down. And just one of those you finally have enough. So I got to do something about it. So that's where all that started at.
I may do the same thing. And Greg with Finding America, he said that he's on a low-carb diet, and he's lost 50 pounds. He said he only allows himself 100 grams of what are we talking about? Carbohydrates a day?
Carbs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is your limit?
Truthfully, if you're like strictly keto, it's supposed to be 20 grams or less a day, or 7 grams a meal. But I mean, I eat a lot of food in a day, and if I get 15 grams a day, I'm doing good. So I mean, you could eat, I just don't eat that many.
Yeah. Well, even if I ate 100, because I wasn't aware of it, but my son-in-law, we went to Walmart, and I got a big bag of chips and an RC Cola, and I said, "What is this on carbs?" He said it's about a month's supply,
That's right. And if you would just stay off the Pepsis and RCs, man, you would lose a lot of weight.
Well,
I mean, I've got a case of water, you've got a case of Pepsi. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I'm keeping water in my cooler now, and I have kind of broke myself from going and buying a whole cooler full of RCs, because seriously, guys, I would drink 10 or 12 of those in a day whenever I was out hunting.
Oh my Lord!
Yeah, and but I've got to have something to get some energy. So, what's an alternative energy source during the day like that? Would cheese do it?
Yeah, but I'm telling you, if you get on keto, you're gonna have more energy. And you know what to do with it. You'll feel great.
Oh my Lord! I'll tear this old body up in 2 days.
I try to walk every day, and like sometimes on the weekend I walk 18.5 miles in a day, and just quit because I run out of daylight. But you just have more energy than you ever had.
Well, Evan, I think we need to do this. I really do. And then I think we'll be able to find some more sites now if we do this keto.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm still real mobile to be as old as I am, but just starting to have a little bit of knee problem, and I know that it's getting up and down, and I'm carrying a little more weight now than I have. And Heath Jones said he keeps his carbs down to 25, preferably under 20. So it's just a matter of watching what you eat and substituting, isn't it?
It is. Yes. And a good rule of thumb too, like eating vegetables and stuff, you eat the vegetables that grow above the ground, not below the ground. So, I mean, that's a pretty good rule of thumb.
Huh. So carrots are not good for you?
No, they're full of sugar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, and of course, potatoes are.
Well, now, watermelons grow above the ground, and I love them. Can I eat 2 or 3 of them a night?
I don't know about 2 or 3 of them, but you can have some of them. Pretty much the fruits is, they want you to eat berries like blackberries and raspberries and strawberries and stuff like that. But.
Yeah. And he said no corn. This is interesting, guys. I mean, it is something that I've just been introduced to through my son-in-law, and then I knew that Heath was on this because I've been watching him and his channel and on Facebook and everything, and I can tell that he's lost a lot of weight and seems like he's got a lot of energy and everything. I know my son-in-law lost a lot, and then I'm hearing testimonials from everybody that they just feel great after they do this.
Nick says no onions.
You can have onions. I'm sure that it's just moderation,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, we learned something tonight, didn't we, Tennessee Jeff?
We sure did. And then, I mean, I hope we just take the plunge and do it instead of just talk about it. So, I'll do it after this week.
That's where the no excuses comes in the group name there. No excuses, because usually everybody's got an excuse while they don't do it. So that's why I threw no excuses in the title of my group.
And I tell you what my son-in-law did. Now, my son-in-law talked about it for about a month. And at his work, there were several of them. And my son-in-law wasn't terribly overweight. He just had a big belly. And that was it. And not extreme on that. But, he needed to lose a little bit of weight. So the incentive is that they got, in their work, they got a pool of people that said, okay, we're going to try this. And each one of them had to pick a partner, and they had a competition. And I think the business gave as a first prize $500 to the team that lost the most weight. So that was an incentive for these teammates to get together and be real strict on this diet and try to lose as much as they could in a month. And my son-in-law and his teammate, they came in second place in that. So they did real well.
Wow.
Deal.
I think that's the big thing about the Facebook page that Jeff has is we're supportive of one another. Some days you have, you cheat and then you feel bad and, it's like, okay, it's okay. We're going to, tomorrow's a new day. And just having that support group and that encouragement and incentive to, hey, we can do this. As a team.
Yeah. Well, and you're right. I mean, you need support. You need motivation to do things. And then I would think that after you turn the corner, after you got over the initial withdrawal urges to have that bag of potato chips and that RC Cola, after you had substituted other things and it worked out for you, I don't think it would be that hard. It's just getting started, isn't it?
Yes, sir. You make it. They say if you make it 2 weeks, then you got it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, if you actually get into it, then you cheat and eat chocolate or something like that, you'll probably regret it. I mean, your body rejects it big time, if you know what I mean. So,
I've heard that.
Hey, do you get what they call in the South the trots?
You do, like a crippled coon.
And I can just imagine all of our listeners overseas in Germany and in Austria and China and Japan. Oh, Yankee dog, what the trots? Yeah, you had to send me an email and I'll explain that. We can't do that on the radio because this is a family-friendly show.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, Jeff, y'all have been good guests, and it's been good to talk with you. What have you got in the near future for you and Blake?
Pretty much just metal detecting and ketoing and keeping on, I guess.
Blake, you got any final words that you want to put in tonight? You haven't said a whole lot tonight.
I know. No, I don't really.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time out and coming on. And I understand that you're in North Carolina right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, you have a safe trip back to Alabama. And where are you at, Jeff, right now?
I'm up north in the old northern states.
Yeah.
Just taking a road trip.
Yeah. I keep saying that I'm going to get down there and hunt with you guys, but maybe we can all get together at this Chattanooga show either before or after the show and at least get together and try to hunt just a little bit or go out to eat, something other, But don't let me go to that show and not shake your hand and Blake's hand and everybody else that's been in here tonight. Introduce me to all those rednecks down there.
Yes, sir. We try to bring a few people with us there. We have to see. I got to get my yearly, little dirt digger Emily picture there. I try to do that yearly.
Oh, she's a treasure, I tell you. And generally Shannon and them are in the chat. I don't know if they're in here tonight or not, but they just about every week they are. And I tell you what, she is a treasure, and we had her on the show last year, I think on the American Digger segment, because Patrick had to follow her, and he said, "This is just wrong, making me follow her," and but she did a great job, and we're going to interview her. And Shannon is part of this. It'll be an extended Father's Day thing, but we're going to do this same thing. And we're going to do the same thing next week with 5280 Adventures. It's going to be Tony and Caden, and we're going to have them on this next week. And Tennessee Jeff, I'll let you have the last word, and then we'll close the show out.
Well, I appreciate you, Jeff and Blake, and appreciate everybody that was in the listening to the show tonight. And then, of course, we were going to do something tonight, but we've run out of time, man. I guess we'll have to. We was going to give away a detector, but I guess we'll have to wait till next week or the next. And so,
you know what? I got in the middle of that keto diet and forgot all about that.
I know it, and of course now we've got to do the keto diet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, guys. Maybe next week. Maybe we'll do it next week.
Yep. So, but thank everyone for being here, and God bless, and we'll see. I won't be on the show next week, but I'll see you the next week. So,
okay. And some of you have asked, when is the Chattanooga show? The Chattanooga Relic show is July 27th and 28th. It's not actually in Chattanooga, but if you go to, it's just outside of it. But if you go to the Relics Radio Facebook group page, there is an ad there for that, and it has all the information. It has the address. I tell you what, guys, I was there last year. We did live shows. It was a great time. And if there's any way possible, get over there, because if you listen to these podcasts, you're going to get to meet everybody that hosts these things, and most of the guests that we have on as well. It's just going to be a real fun time. And also, if you're not entered in the contest for the Amphibio giveaway with Murray Branch Outdoors and Noctamacro, then go to the Relics Radio Facebook group page. It's right at the top of the page. I've got it pinned up there so you can't miss it. Make sure that you comment, though, on the official post about this. I put a reminder out today and somebody commented on it. I can't give you a number on any other post. You got to go to the official one. It's on the Relics Radio Facebook group page, top post. Go in there in the comment section, say something about the Amphibio, and I'll give you a number, and then live on the show next week or the next week, guarantee you one of those, we're going to draw the numbers, and then you'll have 3 minutes to either call in or message us on chat, and somebody's going to win a great detector. And by the way, if you like podcasts, check out Beyond Sight and Sound with Josh Kimmel. He's on every Sunday night and Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Also on Monday night at 8 o'clock is All Metal Mode with Mike Hare and our good friend Gypsy Jules. They're on at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then at Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, Butch Holcomb, Jeff Lupert, and myself, we have the American Digger Relic Roundup. And we're featuring writers for the magazine, and we got a good one coming up this next Monday night. Just seal the deal this afternoon. It's going to be a real good show, and it's a real good story. You won't want to miss that. And then on Thursday night and Saturday night at 8 o'clock is Hardcore Metal Detecting with our friends Derek Asklar and Craig Talley. And then XP Team USA has a podcast every other Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern with Dave Kimball and Grant Hansen. And Relics Radio will be back this next Thursday night, and I've got a special co-host that's going to be with me. You're going to have to join the show to find out who it is, but we'll see you next Thursday at 8 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Relics Radio. We really do appreciate it. Be sure and join us live every Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern here on Spreaker, or you can catch the archive show at Relics Radio on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and many other podcast outlets. Relics Radio is also syndicated on the Cutting Edge Radio Network and is broadcast around the world. Please take a minute and hit the like button, and be sure and follow us so you'll get notifications of all of our upcoming broadcasts. You can also find us on YouTube at Diggin' with 7 or Tennessee Jeff, or you can check us out on our Relics Radio Facebook group page or Adventures in History on Facebook. If you'd like to get in touch with us, then send an email to relicsradio@outlook.com. We'd love to hear from you. We hope that you'll join us next Thursday night, and until then, get out there and dig some history.